Hey, I'm CARBO brother. I'm Chris Nelson, President of CARBO. Really excited to introduce a new spring kit for your Mossberg pistols. So the Mossberg MC1sc and the Mossberg MC2c. So Mossberg recently came out with two pistols. Been a long time since I had a pistol. So here it is. We got a spring kit to take you down from 6.5 pounds to 5. Wish it could have been lighter, but 25% trigger pull reduction, maintaining all the reliability inherent in the firearm, which is first and foremost, and then increasing the performance by giving you a lighter, smoother, cleaner trigger pull. Very good. Simple, easy process. Love this. For what you get, 1.5 pound reduction, 25% reduction, well worth it. Better than having a 6.5 pound factory trigger pull. That's just no-go. 5, we'll take it. I mean, at least it's more in common with what you typically see from the factory. So it's not a 3 pound, not a 4, but 5 pound, it'll get us in that ballpark, which is much better than 6.5 pounds. Let's get on our tabletop, show you how to put this baby in. Parts needed for this build: the Mossberg MC1sc and the Mossberg MC2c trigger spring kit by MCARBO. This will give you a lighter, smoother, cleaner trigger pull. It'll work for both models. One's a subcompact, one's a compact. You'll see we got a lighter striker spring here, got a lighter Sear spring here, and a lighter striker block safety spring here. Tools needed for this build: 1/8 inch punch, 3/32 inch punch, 1/16 inch punch, bench block, hammer, little micro tip, flathead screwdriver, synthetic grease with PTFE, and as always guys, make sure we're in iPro. Before we get started, let's go ahead and check our firearms together, make sure they're clear, check the chamber, check the bolt face, check the magazine well. This firearm's clear. Before we get started, let's go ahead and get a 5 pull average on the factory trigger pull, see where we're starting. So this will be our running average right here, down bottom left. This will be the number of pulls, and this will be each individual pull rating. All right, let's go ahead and see what we're starting with. Six pounds, 2 ounces. 5 pounds, 15.4 ounces. 6 pounds, 3.7 ounces. That seems a little off, but 7 pounds, 1.7 ounces. Exactly why we're doing the 5 pull average. 6 pounds, 6.6 ounces. Combined average, 6 pounds, 8.3 ounces. So about a 6.5 pound trigger pull is what we're starting with. That seems about a good, reasonable, general estimate there. So, all right, good. All right, we're gonna get started with a simple field strip. A little unusual, not your typical field strip. So in this case, with these Mossberg pistols, you're gonna lock the slide back like that. And then the back plate, you're gonna push in and pull down. So push in, basically on that striker, and you're going to pull down. It's a little stiff, that striker spring. All right, comes out like that. Set your back plate down. Now you can pull your striker assembly out, just like that. Now you're going to let the slide go forward, and it comes apart. The idea was they, created this safer system for disassembly. You don't have to pull the trigger. So that's what they're all about right now. So there you can go. You can see the slide. You can see the frame. Very similar looking internals of your Glock pistol. A lot of this will seem familiar, except that first part. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll get started on the slide first. We're gonna take the rest of it apart, so we'll pull out the recoil spring, guide rod, just push in, pops right out like that. Push up on the barrel, slides right out like that. Pretty simple. All right, now we need to replace our striker block safety spring, so we gotta get this striker block safety out. It's captured by the extractor right here, so we're gonna tap out this extractor pin. Go ahead and grab your bench block, set it up, go from top to the inside there. Take your 1/16 inch punch and just tap it right through. Just a little roll pin that holds it all together. Set that aside. All right, now we're gonna pull out our punch and take a look at everything. Keep good tension on that extractor. Make this a controlled explosion here. All right, so you can see there's your striker block safety. It just released. And now we can pull our extractor out. You see how that goes in there. All right, we're gonna set our extractor and spring aside and then just pull out our striker block safety. It's kind of easy, just tap it on your hand like that. Falls right out. Let's go ahead and replace this striker block safety spring with the lighter MCARBO spring, and we'll compare the two and see how they look. All right, so we'll open up our MC1sc MC2c trigger spring kit by MCARBO. Lighter set of springs give you a nice combined, even, reliable trigger pull reduction. Even got a handy little target in there to shoot at. Go ahead and keep the stock springs in a bag. I'm gonna pull out all the lighter springs and set them aside. I'm gonna put all the factory ones away in that bag, but this is what you get in the kit right here. So you get a lighter striker spring, lighter striker block safety spring, and a lighter Sear spring right here. All right, so all we're gonna need is a striker block safety spring. Set the other ones aside. So go ahead and pull out that factory striker block safety spring. All right, so I got the MCARBO spring here on the right, factory on the left. Major difference. So it's pretty easy to tell them apart. I mean, you can tell right away just by comparing you know, which one's stiffer, which one's not. All right, so we'll put this factory spring aside, put it in the bag. All right, so we're gonna drop in the MCARBO striker block safety spring. Use a little bit of that synthetic grease of PTFE. You know, I like it for reassembly. It helps keep everything together. You know, this is gunsmith glue here. Doesn't hurt anything, just helps keep little springs like this in place. That way you don't have to worry about it falling out when you turn it like this. It'll just make the reassembly process a lot easier. You can see, no worry about springs falling and dropping and losing them. So we'll go ahead and lay all these parts out, review them real quick. All right, these are all the pieces we got for the slide here. We still need to replace this striker spring, so we're about to get to that. But you know, this is what you got in front of you. You got your slide, your barrel, your recoil spring, you got your striker block safety, and your spring that we just replaced. You got your extractor spring, your extractor hinge pin here. All right, so let's go ahead and replace the striker spring here. It's real simple, straightforward, just like any other striker spring. So we'll just set all these pieces aside and we'll get right down to it. All right, so when replacing your striker spring, you know, we're gonna capture this little piece here on the bench block, push down and remove these two little cups right here that retain it in place, and it's that simple, just like any other striker spring. So push down, get those two little cups to come out. That's what they look like there. Set those down, let that striker spring come right off. There it is, there's the factory one. And this is the MCARBO lighter striker spring. So you can see right off the bat, the MCARBO spring is shorter, so don't be alarmed by that. You know, we put a lot of testing into this to make sure it's reliable, safe, even trigger pull reduction. You're not gonna get any light strikes or anything like that. So it's the way we designed it. So there's a bunch of different things that can go into this, but just don't be alarmed. Obviously it's gonna be shorter. All right, this one was really heavy, so it was not needed to be this long. There's a ton of energy packed into this length of the spring here. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll put our longer, heavier duty striker spring aside. No need to have all that on that striker spring. So we got our lighter, shorter striker spring here. So it slides right on over the striker. Keep our striker sleeve in place just like that. We're gonna compress it right on the bench block and drop our two little cups in there. Hold them in place and let that striker spring just kind of ride right up. And there you go, it looks just like that. All right, simple. So we'll go ahead and we'll put the slide back together. We are gonna leave the striker out. It seems weird, but the reassembly process for these Mossberg pistols requires you put it in at the end. So really bizarre, but trust me. All right, we'll leave that to the end. All right, so now we're gonna put the slide back together, you know, the remaining pieces, striker block safety and the spring, the extractor spring, and the extractor pin. The simplest way to do this for yourself is to go ahead and get this extractor pin started in the slide. What I like to do is take a little of this synthetic grease, all right, and just kind of put a little bit on the end so it'll stick and allow you to really center it up and kind of tap that pin in without it falling all over the place. Because otherwise it'll just kind of flop all over the place. We don't want that. All right, center it up in that hole. Give it a couple taps of your hammer. It'll kind of locate right in there and start working its way in. Grease helps it kind of slide in too. But you know, we got it started now, which is a big help. Rather than trying to hold it all under tension and get it started, don't do that. Trust me, I know. All right, so what we'll do now is we'll get our striker block safety in there with the lighter striker block safety spring. We're gonna drop it right in that hole right there on the slide. And you can see when you compress it, it's gonna give it the appropriate clearance to get that extractor in. So we'll have to definitely do that. Take your extractor spring, you'll notice there's an open end like that. Drop that in right into the slide, and that'll leave that little tightly wound coil sticking up for that extractor to locate into. And then you can see there's your extractor. You know, this little piece is what's gonna go right in and locate like that. And then we'll get that little coil on that extractor spring to drop right into that pocket right there. So you'll make sure it gets captured just like that. Then we're gonna compress it all. So I'm holding down on the striker block safety, and then I'm compressing the extractor, and then I can let go of that striker block safety. It's captured for now. You know, and we need to tap in that pin the rest of the way. Just keep a good hold on it. A few taps until it's captured like that. Nothing's going anywhere. It helps if you got one of these hammers with the rubber face, so that way you don't nick up your slide. So be a little careful if you don't have that. All right, then take your 1/8 inch punch. All right, drive it in until it's flush. Then take your 1/16 inch punch, give it a few taps, just get it recessed. You can see there's a ton of clearance there on that side. Might as well have it recessed just a hair. All right, that's good. Wipe off any excess grease. Just make sure that striker block safety is locked and located and moving. All right, good. So we are good to go there. Go ahead and drop in our barrel, just like that. Then just drop in a recoil spring and guide rod, compress it, get the locate right there on that lug of the barrel. All right, good. So we're pretty much ready to go. We got our striker and back plate still out. We're gonna leave those out until the end. So we'll set these three pieces aside. Let's focus on the frame real quick. All right, so here's a good view of the inside of the frame here. So you can see what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out the Sear housing. It's this piece that locates down in here. Your trigger bar locates just like this on top of that Sear or lifter. It's gonna locate right in this side right here. So just like to point that out. We're gonna leave the trigger in place. No need to pull it all apart. I'll show you how to get the Sear housing out and back in. You just gotta delicately maneuver it around that trigger bar. Not a big deal. So take our 3/32 inch punch. We're gonna tap out this pin back here that holds it all in place. Simple roll pin right there. All right, set it aside. So we'll go ahead and we'll pull out this whole assembly. It helps if you pull on your trigger, it's gonna actually release and allow everything to pop up like that. And you can see, upon reassembly what we need to do, how we need to get to locate in there. So that trigger bar just has to locate in this side right here. That's the only thing retaining it right there. All right, so we're gonna pull out that trigger bar, so just push it back like that as you're pushing the Sear housing forward, and then it pops right out. Simple as that. Set the frame down. We'll work on that here in a second. Now we've got our Sear housing. You can see your connector right here. All right, not gonna mess with that. You can see your Sear or lifter right here. It's plastic. Wonderful, right? All right, this is what locks and locates into the housing right here, this little clip. So you're just gonna push that clip and it's gonna pull the whole thing out. That Sear, lifter, and then we're gonna replace that spring right there. So there's the clip that locates in the back side, right down in here. So a simple little swap, and then we're gonna drop it right back in like this. All right, so go ahead and pull out that stock spring. All right, there's your stock spring right there, and there's your MCARBO lighter Sear spring. So replacing the Sear spring, all right, you can see really quick, yeah, big difference. I mean, you barely have to move it. All right, so we'll put the stock spring away. Let's go ahead and put in the MCARBO lighter Sear spring. Same deal, just get it to locate in those two little tabs right there. Just like that, flip it around, because we need it to locate with this little feature. That's what locks it in place. You can see your connector back here. So we're gonna drop it right in like this. Just drop straight in, and then we just push it down until it locks right in that little hole there. You'll see that little clip right there, and it's all held together. That simple. All right, so your connector kind of sticking out. So no need to remove any of that. It's all held in. Now we just put it back in the frame. All right, so we're gonna drop our Sear housing into the frame, just like this orientation. You want that ejector pointing forward towards the tip of the barrel. What we're gonna do is get this little leg right here on that trigger bar to locate into the Sear housing right over here. There's a cutout. So let's get it all lined up. Let's get this feature right here on the housing lined up with that channel right there in the frame. So it'll drop right in. All right, and get that little cross piece on the trigger bar. We want this tab to locate inside. So we're gonna push down and push it right in. See that? And then pull it all the way forward. And now everything's lined up, ready to go. And it helps too. You can pull forward on that trigger, and that's gonna help get everything going into alignment. And we're gonna compress the trigger bar and the Sear housing just like this. We can push it straight down in. Simple as that. And you can lock that trigger forward, just pull it forward. And everything's lined up, good to go. And you can see that little tab right there locating on the inside of the Sear housing. It's all located, good to go, held in place, perfect. So now we just gotta tap that pin right in. Should be able to see right through that hole. So line it up, Sear housing pin, get it started. Kind of compress that Sear housing. You don't want it shifting around as you're hammering. Starting to go in. Let's just check and make sure everything's lined up still. It is. Good. Let's hammer away. 3/32 inch punch. Help us get the rest of the way there. Just want it recessed a little bit on both sides. All right, we're good to go. Perfect. So at this point, we're done with the frame and the slide. We just got to put it back together. All right, so now we need to reassemble the pistol. So this is Mossberg's, safer tear down reassembly process. So the striker will be left out and the back plate till the very end. So we'll take the slide, put it on the frame. All right, push it all the way through and lock it just like that. Now, drop in your striker, push it all the way, take your back plate, compress that striker sleeve, push it right up and get it to lock in place. And there we go. it's all back together. Let's do a quick little function check. Make sure the slide operates normally. All right, pull the trigger. Good. Leave it held down, listen for the reset. Perfect. Oh, that feels good. All right, yeah, it's definitely lighter. All right, let's measure this trigger pull. All right, let's see what we get from modified trigger pull reading. So this will be our running average right here, number of pulls right here, each individual pull rating right there. 4 pounds, 15.7 ounces. 5 pounds, 2.5 ounces. 5 pounds, 3.2 ounces. 5 pounds, 1.3 ounces. 4 pounds, 15.4 ounces. Puts us right at 5 pounds, 0.6 ounces. So 5-pound trigger pull, I mean, that's solid. 6.5 pounds down to 5 pounds even. Can't beat that. That's a 1.5 pound trigger pull reduction. Simple drop-in kit, takes hardly no time at all. Give you a nice, reliable, smoother, lighter trigger pull reduction. And that's the key point, maintaining the reliability. What else can we squeeze out of there that the factory was a little too heavy on? Did it right here. So nice 1.5 pound reduction, 5 pound, even trigger pull. That's a minimum. 5 pound pull, that's much more doable than a 6.5 pound. 5 pound all day long, decent trigger pull. 6.5 pound, 7 pound, you're getting a little high there. So looking forward to this. Can't wait to hear what you guys think about it. There you go, guys. 25% trigger pull reduction for your Mossberg MC1sc or your Mossberg MC2c. Works for both pistols. Love this. 1.5 pound reduction. And this is simple. I felt like this is a really easy install. Anybody could do this themselves. Just follow the instructions, simple tools, drops in, no problem, nothing crazy about it. So really like this. I'm glad you guys requested it. You know, we were thinking about it, but you know, we just weren't sure how popular this platform was going to be, and it seems like it's picking up. A lot of guys were asking for it, so we did it. I wish we could have got more, but 6.5 down to 5 is much better than 6.5 to start with and run with forever. 5 at least gives you a much more normal trigger pull for a pistol. You know, I would have rather it been 3 or 4, but we couldn't do it. We had to maintain, obviously, the reliability of the firearm. There's only so much room in here to do stuff with. So great, reliable trigger pull reduction, give you a nice, cleaner, smoother trigger pull. I mean, it's much better than what we started with, man. 5 is much more desirable and reasonable. I mean, we'll take 5 over 6.5 any day. So eager to hear what kind of results you guys get. Eager to hear what you think about it. I mean, 5 doesn't seem like a whole lot, but man, when you're used to shooting 6, I mean, that really does make a world of difference. I mean, 25%, it's very noticeable. So excited about this. Can't wait to hear what you think. Thank you, MCARBO Brother, for all your ideas and your support. And as always, happy shooting.